So we'll see. Wow, it's quite a voice. So welcome. Join us tonight in honoring Craig and Yolanda Muckle, who well deserved this award, this designation as local heroes for their service to the community and the positive example that they set for each of us. So I noticed some of you have already enjoyed the food we prepared. The food's been the domain of the Beltway Plaza Merchants Association, Three Brothers Pizza, Faux 168, and Heaven's Bakery. So throughout the program, feel free to get up at any time and enjoy yourselves. So to begin the program with an appropriate message, I'd like to Pastor Jack Morris of the Largo Community Church deliver the Yes.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be here tonight, and I think that most of us feel honored to be in this gathering to honor a beautiful couple. We've known, my wife and I, Craig and Yolanda for a lot of years now. We knew them before they were married, just shortly before they were married. And they started to the Largo Community Church and joined the official membership of the church in 2007 and have so blessed Corinne and me, my wife Corinne, blessed the congregation, modeled the Christian life, and modeled marriage. They are still on their honeymoon. They love one another, and we at the church love them very much and their three children. Nice to see Senator Peters again. It's been a while. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. We're going to bow before our God, give thanks to Him for His blessings on the couple and upon this meeting this evening. Father God, we bow humbly to give thanks to You for Your goodness and mercy. We enter into the Thanksgiving, Christmas holidays with joy, happiness, and glory in our hearts. Particularly, Lord, we are stimulated with that happiness and joy as we come together to honor a beautiful couple who love God, who love one another, who love the community, and have served so effectively, ministered so well. They are to be honored, and we have gathered to do just that, to give them honor. Thank You for the friends and neighbors who have gathered for this sacred occasion. May Your blessing be upon each of us as an individual, each of us as a couple, each family represented. We give thanks to You, Lord, and we bless again Craig and Yolanda. Pray Your blessings upon them and their three children. We're so thankful, Lord. They have so honored us with their lives, with their service. Now our opportunity to honor them. We pray all these favors in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Morris. Thank you very much. So before we begin the formal part of the program, I just wanted to recognize Senator Doug Peters and Councilman Todd Turner, who have joined us this evening. One of the things that we do is we like to recognize our elected officials and their service when they join us. So, now the program you came for. So we've honored heroes from all walks of life. I hope you have an opportunity to look at the photos and look at the bio and the biographies. We've honored Senator Victor Ramirez, Delegate Darrell Barnes, the Greenbelt Mayor Jay Davis, Students Against Destructive Decisions in Eleanor Roosevelt High School, Minister David Harrington, who's joined us, President of the Chamber, as well as other founders, as one of the founders of the Harlem Renaissance Foundation, We've honored educators, public safety professionals, a Greenbelt minister, and local athletes. So people ask me about this. They want to know how we choose and what this is about. So let me just say that we try to confirm the maxim that example is the best teacher. By focusing on local heroes, we try to understand what motivates these folks to live their lives, giving to the community the way they do. So that's what we've done here at Beltway Plaza since the inception of the wall about 4 years ago, highlighting the great examples outstanding local heroes present for the rest of us. Folks who not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. So we've chosen Craig and Yolanda here today because they're an outstanding role model, an inspiration to others, and together lead a family unit of devotion and giving. Part of being a role model is being a mentor, a teacher, a coach. We recognize for many youth, sports coaches represent significant teachers and influencers in their lives. Mentors beget mentors and teachers beget teachers. The author, Pat Conroy, wrote several autobiographical novels describing the influence of his teachers and coaches upon his development. In one of those novels, my favorite actually, My Losing Season, Conroy describes his much revered Gonzaga High School English teacher who guided his reading list as he was coming up. He said, and I quote, "The great teachers fill you with hope and shower you with 1,000 reasons to embrace all aspects of life." Well, Craig recognized that he and I met each other a number of years ago, and this typifies pretty much what I know about him. He's got a great grace under pressure, as well as a winning yet humble management style. And before David Harrington finished the job, Craig rescued the Prince George's Chamber of Commerce from both its financial and operational demise. Insofar as Yolanda is concerned, despite my 50 years in real estate, I still learn much from the tweets that I receive every morning. But as distinctly unique as Craig and Yolanda are in their accomplishments, their community volunteerism, their togetherness, their strong family, their neighbor and friend connections, joyfully we acknowledge that the Muckles are not alone. Greenbelt, Berwyn Heights, and Prince George's County are replete with other professional couples with similar outstanding qualifications. Permit me, please, to name a few that I've encountered over the years. From Greenbelt, Gil and Missy Weidenfeld. I'm going to not use any titles. I'm just going to name the individuals quickly, and then we can move on. I'm really just doing this because these are people that I've met over the years that have really impressed me with their devotion to the community. So from Greenbelt, Tony and Ralph Brand, Tom and Helen White. From Berwyn Heights, Shai and Trinity Calvo, Brad and Cheryl Jewett. From Prince George's County, Wayne and Sheila Curry, Jay and Monique Walker, Ann Healy and Neil Conway, Tom and Flo Hendershot, and Glenn and Jolene Ivy. So while these couples immediately come to mind, this list is by no means exhaustive. Greenbelt, Berwyn Heights, and Prince George's County have a rich tradition of service to the community. So now, I'm going to relinquish the pulpit, if you will. We're going to have our high-tech student from Louis State University assist us with a TV monitor and a CD. And our keynote speaker, who couldn't be here tonight because he's out of town, Dr. Willie Jolly, is going to address us. And if you don't know who Dr. Jolly is, he's a motivational speaker who specializes, if you will, in discussions of coming back from adversity in your past to achieve success in the future. So I think that, and he's going to speak to his knowledge and relationship with Craig and Yolanda as well. Just take us a moment to get this started.
jolly, and I want to let you know you have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. And I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to speak to you, all of you there who are there celebrating my dear friends, Craig and Yolanda Muckle. I am sorry I can't be there in person, but I am speaking at a conference this weekend, and I am not able to be in Washington. But I had to have a moment to celebrate my dear friends. They have been friends for a number of years. They've been good friends. And what I am so blessed by their friendship is not what they do for themselves, but what they do for others. And that's why I think it's so profound and apropos that y'all would be giving them this award and we recognizing their service. Let me tell you something I've learned. I have a new book called An Attitude of Excellence that just came out last week. And the book talks about a number of programs and lessons I've learned over the years about success. And in the beginning of the book, I share the power of service. As a story I tell about when I went to Japan to speak for the U.S. Marines. I was excited about it. My wife and I went together, and when we got to the island of Okinawa, we had a great time speaking for the families of those deployed, for the workers on the base. Had a great time for 2 weeks. But when we left, we had to go to South Korea. When we got to the airport in Japan to go to South Korea, there was a lady at the front door. I said, how are you? She said, could I see your ticket? I said, oh, okay. And she looked at the ticket. Oh, we've been waiting for you. I said, really? Maybe it's because I'm the speaker. Maybe it's because I'm the American. Wow. She said, oh, we've been waiting for you. She handed the ticket to another lady who said, oh, we've been waiting for you. We're going to check in your seating assignments. And then it handed to another lady who said, we've been waiting for you. We're going to get your luggage all checked in just fine. And then it handed it to a fourth lady who said, oh, we've been waiting for you. We're going to take you to the VIP area. I said to my wife, oh, wow, this is big. This is great. This is high cotton. Let's act like we used to. In order to get to the VIP room, we had to go right back by the front doorway where we first came in, on our way down the hallway, and we walked by the lady who had first greeted us, and as we walked by that lady, her back was turned to me, and she was talking to a group of other people, and I overheard her say to these other people, we've been waiting for you. I realized they said that to everybody. We got to the VIP room, it was everybody. It was a waiting room. First class, business class, coach class, American, Japanese, everybody in it together. They gave us some refreshments, and they took us to the shuttle. We all got on the shuttle together, first class, business class, coach class, American, Japanese. And as that shuttle was about to pull off, all those ladies we had met that day, all four of them ran to the edge of the bus and bowed. I said, thank you for letting us serve you. I learned a valuable lesson when I get to do what I do. When I speak for 5 people, 50 people, 500 people, or 5,000 people. And I would suggest when you get to do what you do, we should never see it as work. We should see it as service. Because service is the rent we pay for our space on this earth. Well, Craig and Yolanda have proven that because they constantly serve. You know, what has been so impressive about them is that you would think that they have no problems. They have no challenges of their own because they're always serving somebody else. Whether it's Catholic charities, whether it's community groups, whether it's, I've been with Craig at dinners where he had tables available for people to come so that he could, make sure they are taken care of. He's always serving someone else. Now you would think, oh, everything is perfect in their life. No, they've had challenges, they've had adversity, they've had difficulties, they've had overcoming problems that were overwhelming, but they chose to not focus on self, but on serving others. And that's a sign of greatness. Martin Luther King Jr., in his last speech or sermon at Ebenezer Baptist Church in 1968, 2 weeks before he was killed, he gave a sermon that we now know is called the Drum Major Instinct. Powerful message. But there's a little piece in that sermon that's very powerful. That's a small piece, but it's so powerful. I want to make sure I pull it out and share it with you. In this piece, he says, there's a new definition of greatness. If you want to be important, that's fine. You want to be rich, that's fine. You want to be recognized, that's fine. But if you want to be great, you got to know about the new definition of greatness. And the new definition of greatness is that you become a servant of others. You serve somebody else. See, if you have this new definition of greatness and service, you can understand the power. See, he says you don't need college education to serve somebody. You don't have to have your noun and your verb to agree to serve somebody. You don't need to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve somebody. You don't need to know about Einstein's theory of relativity to serve somebody. You don't need to know the second theory of nuclear dynamism to serve somebody. All you need is a heart full of love and a soul generated by grace, and you can serve somebody else. And if you do, you can be great. Well, today I want to applaud, celebrate my friends, Craig and Yolanda, for their greatness. And you're celebrating by giving them this award tonight because of that greatness, that they have made a commitment to serve others. Now here's what I want to really empower and impose and implore you to do is you learn from their model and do what they do. Serve somebody. Might be a senior citizen who just needs somebody to stop by and say hello to them every now and then. Might be a child who needs a mentor. Might be a teenage mom who has no idea how she's going to make it and just needs somebody to give them some encouragement. You might not be able to do anything but just say good morning to somebody. Help somebody along the way. You might want to bless somebody with a word of hope and encouragement. I don't know which way you can do it, but if you get a mindset to serve somebody, look at Craig and Yolanda and how they have been able to be a servant leader in their community. I encourage you. I often tell people about the fact that one day we are going to leave here. And when we leave here, they're going to put our name and information in a bulletin and in the paper. They're going to say, John Doe was born on such and such a date, and they died on such and such a date, and there'll be a dash in between the date they were born and the date they died. Now, the date they were born is important. The date they left here is important, because everybody's going to leave here one day. But more importantly than either one of those dates is the dash. The dash. What are you doing with your dash? Are you doing something significant with your dash? See, there are levels of success. There's initial success, and then preliminary success, medium success, and then it gets to great success, which leads you to significance. I'm encouraging you to press and push and force and grind from just success to significance. Because see, when you're significant, you might make a lot of money in life, but significance is when you leave a legacy. I never met my grandfather. His name was Noble Brooks. Never met him. He died 6 or 7 years before I was born. But I strive to be like him. When people over the years have come up to me and said, I knew your grandfather, they always say the same thing. What a man of integrity. He's a man who raised his daughter as a single father after his wife decided she didn't want to be married to him anymore. He's a man who was a godly man, took his daughter to church. He was a man who, if he said he would do something, he was going to give you something, he was going to pay a bill, whatever it was, you could go to the bank on his word. He was a man of integrity. He was a good man. That's a legacy. I never met him. But he left a legacy for his grandson to follow. I'm encouraging you that you leave a legacy like Craig and Yolanda are doing by serving, by being people of integrity, of character. If you do, we'll celebrate you. Oh, we might not celebrate you on this award or this event. We might not celebrate you next year in this because somebody got celebrated. Everybody can't be celebrated at the same time. But the real celebration may not come while you're living. And that's okay. Because I believe that you should plant trees that you'll never sit under. The great ones do, because they understand the power of legacy. So, make a legacy. Not just an inheritance, but a legacy. Yeah, you want to inherit, leave something for your children, for your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. But most importantly, leave a legacy of integrity and of service. So I want to celebrate my dear friends, Craig and Yolanda Muckle. They are people of integrity. And I celebrate them. I celebrate you for honoring them. And I encourage everybody to work on your dash. So when your time comes to go, nobody going to have to get in that church and lie about you. They're going to say, here was a good person who did your job well. Or as Martin Luther King Jr. said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets as Michelangelo painted, as Beethoven composed music, as Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will say, there lived the great street sweeper who did his job well. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for listening. I wish I could be there to celebrate it in person, but I hope that you will take this message from my heart to your heart. And again, want to encourage you, go get that Attitude of Excellence, go to attitudeofexcellence.com, get the free excerpt from the new book, and there'll be some of those things I talked about tonight in there. If you don't have my marriage book, go get my marriage book, jollymarriage.com, get a chapter of that. We want to help 1 million marriages to stay together and 1 million more to be enhanced. That's our goal. And so I want to encourage you to do that. Thank you for your time. I close as I began. You have only just a minute. Only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it. But it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute. But your eternities are all wrapped up in it. Congratulations, Craig, Yolanda. You know I love y'all. And celebration to everybody there. This is Dr. Willie Jolly, over and out. And remember, your best is yet to come. God bless you.
So while we're tearing this down, I've seen this several times now since it arrived the other day, and a very powerful call to action, I thought. Serve somebody, help somebody. Establish, as Yolanda and Craig have, a legacy of integrity. So that's going to be a hard act to follow, but someone a little closer to home now, I'm going to call on the council member, Todd Turner.
Yeah, I'm not going to stand behind the podium. First of all, I want to say good evening to everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. I want to thank, obviously, Craig and Yolanda for asking me to be here. I believe it's an honor for me to be here as part of it. So I just want to talk to you about two things that I've heard so far, just to reinforce those. I think Cap talked about heroes. And so I would say, in my view, both Craig and Yolanda are kind of those unsung heroes in our community. Not only, obviously, they're from my area in Bowie, but in Prince George's County. You have those people who are not there to seek attention, to seek the award, to seek the adulation of all of us, but are there simply to do the work. And I've been able to be fortunate to see that over probably the last dozen years or so that I've known both of them. First as a member of the City Council in Bowie, and now as a member of the County Council. And so I appreciate for them as unsung heroes being recognized this evening as part of that. The other one Dr. Jolly was talking about was about service. And obviously through their work in different ways, each of them together, by working together, have been able to serve the community, not only of Bowie, not only of Greenbelt, but of all of Prince George's County and beyond. And so when we look to service, and some people come up to me, I had a little a pin made for my district and giving myself a motto. And my motto for myself is service, community, and progress. And what I say is through your service to the community, we all achieve progress. And I think those are the themes and messages that we can congratulate both Craig and Yolanda and their family. I know they are committed to their family. When I see them, it's usually always with their family in some form or fashion. The other thing, always interested Craig is, if you've read his biography before, obviously he's not only a coach, but he's also a referee. And so he has to be in the middle and trying to resolve disputes. And he's done that in his various positions, whether with Safeway or now with the Archdiocese, to try to bring people together and help them as part of that process. And Yolanda is the one, if you ever running down the street or driving down the street, you see this beautiful poster on the bus stop. It's like, who is that woman? Who is that woman? But that's part of the business that she's been able to do and to support not only herself and her family, but also to be a member of the Prince George's County Association of Realtors, to be recognized as a leader in her field, not only here in Prince George's County, but around the region. So I'm going to take that 60 seconds, I think that was about 60 seconds, that Dr. Jolly was talking about, just to say thank you, Craig, thank you, Yolanda, for the work that you have already done, and for the work that you will continue to do, not only in your community, but also in the county. So with that, congratulations, and we look forward to your unveiling. Thank you, everyone.
So now we're going to double down on this, and we're going to call on Senator Doug Peters, who's actually got several things to do. He's going to make some remarks. He's going to read his proclamation. And if you would, there's a smaller proclamation from Delegate Holmes, Marvin Holmes, who couldn't make it tonight. It's only smaller in terms of the paper size. It's just as important, isn't it, Doug? Okay. Here you go, Doug.
Another great introduction from Cap, right? Anyway, let me just say this first. I've known Craig for almost 20 years. Met him at the Chamber, and for the record, David, I know you're in the back, the Chamber had a positive cash flow when I left. So I know Cap mentioned that you pulled it out of bankruptcy, but that wasn't me when I was president. Okay, so I'll clear the record up right there. And Pastor, I haven't been to your church because Craig hasn't invited me. He used to invite me out, and now he just doesn't invite me out there anymore. So maybe you could invite me and I could come back out. Good to see Mike Herman here, another person who's been to a lot of events. And I told him that one day I told my wife, I said, I think I've passed 10,000 bills. And she said, oh really? I've changed 30,000 diapers. And I said, you win. I met Yolanda at the Prince George's Association of Realtors. And like Todd, she is everywhere. She's an advertising marketing machine, which you have to be for real estate. And she's so successful. And she has a few more Facebook friends than I do, but I'm going to get you, okay? But, I'm still old school. When I go to the grocery store, I don't go to those self-checkouts. I go to the person, because, got to support the union, right? Safeway union, right? But put out my groceries, and there's a little divider between the groceries, and there's Yolanda on my divider in my groceries. That's where she is. She is everywhere. Of course, it was in a Safeway. So, but, John was talking about mottos. So Craig has gone from Safeway, which is the ingredients of life. That was their motto. Now he's at the Archdiocese, so he's at the bread of life, right? And Yolanda, for realtors, real estate changes your life. So there's a lot of life going on in that family. But seriously, I've been over to their home. Craig and Yolanda have supported me through every election. Craig even door knocked with me in flip-flops, actually, with sandals or something. But I really owe a debt to you, with everything you're doing. Both of you are consummate professionals to go out and support your community leaders. It means a lot to us. And so for us to come here today is a no-brainer. And also, let me say this, that they are truly spiritual. They are. And full of life. So congratulations to you guys. I have a proclamation. I have a small proclamation from Delegate Marvin Holmes. He couldn't be here tonight, but he congratulates you on behalf of the House of Delegates. So I have this. I have a little bigger proclamation from me. Could we edit this from the tape, please, so I don't get in trouble with Marvin? You can. And it says, be hereby known to all, sincerest congratulations are offered to Craig and Yolanda Muckle in recognition of their induction into the Beltway Plaza Local Heroes Wall of Fame, signed this date by myself. Congratulations, guys. How much trouble can I get into? Be hereby known to all, sincerest congratulations are offered to Craig and Yolanda Muckle in recognition for your Beltway Plaza Wall of Fame honor and distinguished service to the welfare of citizens of Prince George's County, signed by Marvin Holmes. And we're just kidding. Marvin and I are good teammates like you guys are. He couldn't make it tonight, and he's a good friend, so congratulations.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much. You know, I talked to Craig and I suggested early on that I wanted to honor Craig and Yolanda. I said, but I'll do it on one condition, and that you produce Doug Peters and Todd Turner. And he has. And you can see, so far, they've carried the show. So now, someone who knows Yolanda very well, Jan Evans, who worked with her or was her supervisor at TV station WB50. Yeah, okay. Jan, this is for you.
I had the great opportunity of meeting Yoles, I call her Yoles, before it was the Craig and Yoles team. And at that point, Yolanda and I worked together at WBDC. And it was so interesting because she just had started dating Craig. And apparently they had met, and correct me if I'm wrong, at an event of Lay Down Your Guns that Yolanda had created. And Craig was participating in the event itself, and that's where they met, and then obviously the rest is history. But it's interesting that they met giving back to the community, and here today we're honoring for them continually giving back to the community, which says a lot for both of you. And I think it's amazing looking at all the honorees in the plaza here, the incredible people that have given back. But with Yolanda and Craig, this group is getting a twofer, because if you get one, you get both. And it seems only right that they're both being honored together as a team. But let's going on to something, just a personal note. What I love about the two of them is just how they've been together so long and they're caring for each other. But let me just tell you a little story. When Yolanda and I worked together, we had sales contests, sales incentives. And the prize was a trip to Hawaii. Well, Yolanda, no surprise, won the contest. And she comes up to me one day and it's like, I have a problem. Well, what's the problem? This is great, you won. She goes, I don't know how to swim. And so at night, while Craig's thinking she's working late, she's actually taking swimming lessons so that she can go to Hawaii and impress Craig, well, he thinks she's gonna drown, that she's fine, she did it. And what I love about the story is there was a problem, Yolanda looked at it, said, I can take care of this, she took care of it, and they ended up having a great trip in Hawaii. And that's the two of them. They see something, they find a way to fix it, they address it, it's not a problem anymore, and they look forward to the next event or situation. But congratulations to you both. I mean, just the fact of being in this wall of fame and the two of you, it just makes so much sense. The two of you, it is as I said, a twofer, and the community is so grateful for what you do.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. And now we're going to have one of our honorees address us. Yolanda, if you would.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Jan. It means the world to me that you came today. It's been 20 plus years, so that just tells you how close you are to me. I want to thank my mother-in-law, Mom Yvonne, out here in the audience, and our son, Christopher. Our two daughters are not here today, but they're here in our heart. My mother is in Tennessee. She's actually with her high school class on a trip, so, yes. When Craig told me that Beltway Plaza wanted to recognize us, I said, what did we do? Because I didn't think that what we've been doing was really anything special, but after tonight, I realized how important it is to serve and give back. It's been something that has been important to me since I was a child, from the time that I would, in church, serve on the usher board, to sing in the choir. My name may be Yolanda, but I don't sing like Yolanda Adams, but they had me anyway. And when it comes to activities, I didn't think that we did anything really extraordinary. I just thought that this is something that we should do as far as giving back. Even to the point when we were talking about this, I'm from Baltimore City, and there was so much going on in Baltimore at the time as far as gun violence. And I look now, 20 plus years later, there's still gun violence. I, along with my business partner at the time, Jackie Taylor, created an event called Lay Down Your Guns, Party for Peace. Jan had mentioned that. And the whole point of it was to stop, at least for one day, gun violence, to lay down your guns. As a salesperson, I decided to go to Lay's Potato Chips and pitch this idea that we had of lay down your guns. I thought, wow, this is perfect. Lay's Potato Chips, lay down your guns. They bought into it. It became a big event. We actually did a whole weekend. Not only did we do a concert, but we also did a basketball tournament. That's when, of course, Craig, who happens to be a basketball referee. One of my friends who worked with Craig at BET knew the perfect referee, and here comes Craig. So he didn't mess up the game too badly when it came to refereeing, so I guess I figured let's keep him around. So let me have a copy of the shirt, Craig. I have it over there. Okay, so this is very vintage. This is 25 years old. That's what we rolled out 25 years ago. And today, it's still relevant. Thank you. Okay. So what I've done since then is really an extension of the past involvement and investment in the community. I prefer to believe that what I've been doing is a position to do nothing more than anyone else, given the same circumstance. My transition from corporate advertising sales to residential real estate professional simply gave me a chance every day to see Prince George's County in a more complete way, whether that's the Historic Preservation Commission that I serve on to help serve the community through preserving our community. Our community has evolved due to the collective efforts of many people who share our same desire to see Prince George's thrive. I see myself as a competitive person, but this isn't about keeping score, like I did this or I did that. That's only in bowling, for those who know that we love to bowl. It's all about being involved with you and others engaged toward making Prince George's the great community it has become. It's a pleasure to share my time and talents with organizations doing great work here, to help them expand their influence and effectiveness, and hopefully to share in their successes. And one thing that's really important to me is for us to have our children see that we give back, that it's not just about success and so forth, but to actually give back to the community. And that's extremely important for us, for them to understand that they have to give back as well. There's always going to be work to do, and I hope to continue to be involved for as long as possible. What is most important to me is that other people who walk past this wall and read about the work will be inspired to participate. If one other person gets involved because of this, then it is very much worth it. Thanks again, Beltway Plaza, Dr. Willie Jolly, and all of you, Pastor Morris, Corinne, everybody for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you so much. You picked up the theme. I mean, you nailed it. You got the theme of the wall, the service, I mean, the legacy. Got it all. Thank you. So now it's time to hear about Craig. So first we're going to hear from an officiating colleague and friend of Craig's, Dwight Rochester. Dwight?
Good evening. I'm very fortunate that the game of basketball has evolved into my new avocation, or now 27 years of officiating. And with that, I never thought that officiating would bring me some of my best friends. With that, I met Craig on the basketball court, and we had a big basketball game. It was DeMatha against St. John's, the mighty Morgan Wooten. And with that, I made a call, and Morgan didn't like it. That's the name of officiating. But Craig stepped to Morgan and said, "Coach, Dwight blew his whistle. He got it right." And Morgan looked at Craig and said, "Wow, you really got your partner's back." Morgan told me that, I think it was about 4 years later in my career, after I did one of his championships at American. And with that, Craig became not just a friend, but I understand that he's a guy of character. He's a guy that will stand up for the right thing, and he'll stand up for you. And it's funny about the circle of basketball, not knowing Craig other than from the basketball court, turns out that Craig and I had a lot more in common. I grew up in Southern Connecticut. Craig grew up in West Haven, Connecticut. With that, after that, Craig and I had another thing in common. We went to Catholic universities in Ohio. Craig is a big Dayton guy, and I went to Xavier. With that, over the years, Craig and I have had that little battle, and we continue to still have that battle. But the circle of basketball now continues as we move on to another little circle, and us basketball players move on to the white ball. With that, Craig always sees my big X. I always have Craig as a friend because he's the example of the guy I want to be with, the guy I want to hang out with, the guy that I call my friend. And I know you've all experienced the closeness of friendship, but I know Craig is someone that will be a friend for me for life. And I honor Craig just as you all have with all his accomplishments. And there are many. There's one other thing that I know that you guys don't know about Craig, but we served on a committee for Special Olympics. And it was a Special Olympics basketball tournament that Craig chaired. We raised over $10,000 for the Special Olympics. And that's again part of the service that Craig gives back. He gives back, okay? And he's always giving. He's always giving. He gives to his family, he gives to his wife, he gives back to the community. And again, I'm happy that he has given me the honor to be his friend. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Dwayne. So Dwayne, don't forget your little whistle. I got a bigger whistle right here. Okay, thanks again, Dwayne. So we're going to hear from another good friend, someone I've known as long as Craig, Keith Howard. Keith, I call Keith a sports junkie, a mentor, a coach, and an entrepreneur. So let's hear from you, Keith.
So this is rare air for me. As you heard, I'm a coach. I've coached 31 seasons of football from the University of Pittsburgh Catholic University. And it's funny, one of my players, Laura, right there on the wall, I coached her with the DC Divas. So I've coached everything. So this is rare air to have to stand up and say something pleasant about a referee. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. I think I can. So you would think that we would have very little in common. I'm a football coach, and I'm old school. I don't believe in concussion, any of that stuff. I don't even like wearing jackets. I like whistle, right? He's a basketball referee. To me, it just doesn't work. But one thing we found that we had in agreement was community service. And we kind of, like an old football coach would do, stumbled on it. And here's the way we did it. So we're at the Chamber of Commerce, David, shout out to you. And the Public Safety Committee needed a new chair because this honorable young man was moving to higher things. And I said, I'll grab it. And I was in the security business at the time. So I go, this is perfect for me. Maybe I can snag some contracts. This is good. But I look and I saw that our education system was struggling on the news every night. I said, I'm going over to education. I got 2 young kids. Craig, you take public safety. He goes, whoa, wait. I'm new to the chamber. I don't really know anything. You're the public safety guy. I go, but you know what you got? You got a heart of gold and you care. And a light bulb went off like, well, yeah, you're right. He wasn't going to argue with the coach. He didn't have his whistle. And so he starts chairing this public safety committee, and he goes, you know what? I think we could do more. And I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, you know, we got a lot of sports and hospitality and entertainment here in the county. It doesn't get very positive press. I'm going to start up a committee just for that. I go, okay. And I can tell you, that education committee and that SHE committee, which is still going, powerful. That's that guy's leadership. That's that guy's heart. So then I go, okay, what are you going to do next? He goes, I don't know, why don't we bring the president of the NCAA to the University of Maryland? Wish he could be here right now. I go, Craig, get out of here. He goes, no, it'd be good for the kids to see it. I'm like, the kids? He goes, yeah, it'd be great for a high school student in Prince George's County to see the NCAA president here. And I'm going, well, how are we going to do that? He goes, well, you know some people. I know some people. I go, okay, done. I'm going, this guy's... So then he follows me over to Crossland High School where I'm the head coach, and he notices that my kids are the smallest team in the league. Why is that? I go, Craig, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of them single family homes, they don't eat at night. Well, for the next probably 3 seasons, they had food every Friday night. At first, I didn't know where the food came from. I just it was delivered. Then I figured it out when he came as a speaker and talked to the kids, not about football, but about self-esteem and presentation. I'm going, man, Yolanda, this guy's pretty good. You keep him around a little bit. So then I joined a nonprofit, catering to boys without fathers. Craig finds his way out there. Catholic University, the kids are playing basketball. I'm an old school coach. They don't get any water break. Next thing you know, 1,200 bottles of water are delivered to that camp for the next 4 or 5 years. Where'd it come from? Here we go. And I'm going, man, this guy's not a bad guy. Am I getting it done? I think I'm saying something good about a referee. My goodness. So then, now we start making these random phone conversations. Thank you, Yolanda, for allowing him to pick up the phone after 9 o'clock. And he goes, hey, you know, it's me. He goes, I'm in Montgomery County. I go, what are you doing there? He goes, well, this is car safety check something or other. I go, what? He goes, I think we're going to do one here in our county. And I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, yeah, we don't want any kids to get hurt. I'm like, man, I wish I could take credit for some of this stuff. I've just written it down over the years. I go, okay, let's do it. And boom, there it goes again, the first car safety check. And I could go on and on and on and on and on, but this is the way I'll close. I'm going to close this way. I run a podcast every Saturday morning on the business of sports. Shameless plug for me. One of the major contributors to that is super referee Craig Muckle. Now, I say that because he'll be on tomorrow morning at 10, by the way. But tonight, my friend, you're not super referee Craig Muckle. You are just simply super. Allow me, join me in congratulating our honoree, Craig Muckle.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you. I got the feeling that he should have been the master of ceremonies in this event. So now it's up to you, Craig. I know Keith's a hard act to follow, but we're anxious to hear from you. He's done it before.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. It's a Friday night, it's rainy. I know you could be a lot of other places. But I appreciate, Yolanda and I appreciate the fact that you're here today to celebrate with us. And look, I'm a career PR person. And in our profession, our job is to make others look good. I've worked for 5 great companies or organizations. I started at ESPN as a driver. After getting my college education paid for by my parents, I started 8 days after I graduated at ESPN as a driver. When I took the job, I was happy to have a job. I made $11,000. But I said to myself, I just went through 4 years of college to drive people around, to pick up some daggone tapes. But to be honest with you, it was a great experience. I got to meet some great people who I left ESPN 28 years ago this year. I still have friends there today that are still there. I could have been a career employee, but it was the great collegial attitude that just made those 9 years fantastic. But then I came here to work for BET, spent a couple years at Rite Aid in Pennsylvania, and it was in that transition between BET and Rite Aid that I met Yolanda. And then, let's see, in 1997, I came back to this area, worked at Safeway for the last 18 years, and 2 years ago I started with the Archdiocese. So I've worked for, 5 great organizations where I'm used to making others look good. I stand over where CAP is, I give directions, I hand people their notes, here's your remarks. I just make sure that they're on time, that the mics work, that the TV, that the technology works, and make sure it goes like clockwork, that we're on time. So, and look, many of you know, I'm a spokesperson, I'm used to being in front of the camera, I've done it for years, so I'm not uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable talking about myself. The other, because, to be honest with you, and Dwight and Keith have alluded to it, and it'll start, frankly, tomorrow, but certainly in a couple of weeks when the basketball season starts. I'm used to being booed. Okay? And booing would be very nice. And if you happen to turn into the podcast tomorrow, there's actually some very unique music that Keith has found for me on this podcast. I will not go into, but I would encourage you to try to listen to it, because you may not listen beyond the opening thing, because you'll be on the floor laughing. Because when I first heard it, I had to chuckle. But so this is a little unusual. But many of you here have been involved with the organizations or things that I've been a part of, and I look at it this way, and Keith will relate to this as a football coach. There are 52 players on a NFL team, and there's a quarterback. Sometimes I'm one of the 52, sometimes I'm the quarterback. The bottom line is this: if I was the quarterback, and I'm a Steelers fan, so yesterday, Ben Roethlisberger got to talk after a good game. But when the team is terrible, it's the quarterback that takes the heat. And I've taken the heat on behalf of my companies, and I've taken the heat on behalf of organizations, and that's fine. That's part of, being out front. But here's the thing. You can't do it without a team. I'm a team with Dwight and other officials. Keith and I have been a team, we've worked together. It's not about me, it's about the team. And Yolanda and I have said this, we bowled for 25 years together. 25. When I first dated her, I said, I think I can like this woman. I may want to spend my life with her. If I want to do that, she needs to be able to compete with me and see how big a jerk I can be when I'm bowling. And she stuck with me for 25 years, but we have a motto on our team, which was 24 karat gold. Now it's called Family Matters. But we win as a team, we lose as a team. And that's really what it's all about. So I get to stand up here and be, applauded with my wife, and, we'll have the great honor of being bestowed in this Wall of Fame, but it's not about me, it's about everyone else. I mean, Cap, Doug, Keith have alluded to my chamber involvement. The chamber gave me a great vehicle to do a lot of the work. And the chamber's been through a lot of ups and downs. I've been through the highs, I've been through the lows. But at the end of the day, it was an opportunity that I saw to help my community better through the business community. And with that, working at Safeway, there was opportunities that just came my way, and I'd like to, think I took some advantage of it. I have to thank my parents for that. My parents told me, be the best you can be. And sometimes I take it, probably to the nth degree, much to their chagrin, but my mother's going to be 88 years old next year. I'd remember. And my dad passed away. It'll be 31 years in about a week that he left us. Excuse me? 32, yes, it was 1986, thank you. But, he left us 32 years ago, and, that's when you really grow up. I wasn't ready for my dad to pass away. And, he had a surgery one day. He said, go bowling. I'm fine. We woke up the next morning, come to the hospital, and he left us. And I simply said, I gotta be a man. But he was out in the community doing work. He was down at West Haven City Hall fighting for the community. He was a leader in our church. And so these are he was a role model. My mom's been a teacher in public schools for 25 years. And so, to find a woman like Yolanda who shares the same passion for community and family is awesome. And I think, I love her more now than I do today. I love her more now than I did when I first met her because of all the stuff we've gone through. But thank all of you for embracing the vision that I may have shared with you about our community, about things we could do, about how we can raise money for something. Because Prince George's is a great community. And when we decided to move here, it really wasn't our first choice. But we said along the way, are we going to leave like a lot of people do and do nothing, or are we going to stay and try to make a difference? And we stayed to make a difference. And we didn't try to, we just wanted to do some work behind the scenes. And I guess a few people noticed, and we thank you for that. So, look, thanks very much for coming. Like I said, I know you could have been elsewhere on a Friday night. And, especially when we had not so good weather today. But I hope that we'll continue to work together to build our community, because this is a great place to live. We need to bring more people here, because at the end of the day, we got to sell some more houses. Okay? And we need people to fill those houses, okay? We need other people to come here to understand that, Prince George's is a hidden jewel in the DC metropolitan region, and so they can learn about what we already know, and I look forward to working with you guys again down the road, so thanks very much.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. You can see why, through the testimonies that we've heard from A to Z, why we chose Craig and Yolanda as our local heroes to be unveiled very soon now on the Wall of Fame. Kevin, could you assist with the unveiling for us? So before we do that, though, I want to make another little announcement before I don't forget. At Yolanda's request, we're going to make a contribution to the Arc of Prince George's County. I'm sorry? Oh, Yolanda's a board member, and I guess that's a good reason to choose that charity. And for Craig's request, we're going to make a contribution to Dr. Jolly's charitable foundation. Okay? Good. So we're so proud to have had this event, to have their likeness on the wall, to honor them in this way, their commitment to the community. You heard it from both of them. You heard it from the testimonies of the friends and witnesses. Let's just do it. Right. Thank you. Beautiful. Let's have a some photo op. All right, some photo op by your bio and by your. Sorry, the print's so small. And I want to thank all those who came out today to join us in honoring our local heroes, Craig and Yolanda. For the witnesses, Jan Evans, thank you very much. Senator Peters, I'll get you a better introduction next time, I'm sorry. Todd Turner, Keith Howard, Dwight, thank you. Dwight Rochester, thank you so much.